Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Walker Ford, and I have that one truck that really was the first to electrify everybody's lives. It's this vehicle right here. This is a Ford F-150 Lightning. But before we get into this Lariat trim, antimatter blue, it's not black. This is actually called antimatter blue paint job. Let's talk about what's going on here. Ford, they know how to do trucks. And I know that a lot of other brands were really pushing towards an electrified truck, especially when you look at brands like Rivian, Tesla, and then of course the other portion of the big three, GM, and of course Ram. Now, what's fascinating is that Ford decided to double down and bring an electrified F-150 that first of all looked like an F-150, felt like an F-150, and then taking that Lightning name, a name from the past that was all about SVT performance. Remember, special vehicle teams, SVT performance, and then bringing it to this electrified F-150, calling it the Lightning, and it kind of makes sense. But what I want to find out is, as more brands, you know, we got the upcoming, we did the review on the Chevrolet Silverado EV, we got the upcoming Ram Rev 1500 that's going to be getting in our hands very soon. Should you be going with the Lightning, or should you go with a Silverado EV or a Ram Rev 1500? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this, like I said, antimatter blue Lariat and find out. Right off the bat, Ford nailed it with wanting to hit it on it looking like an F-150, and you could clearly see the design there. Now that the sun is out, I'm going to have Steven kind of show off this antimatter blue paint. It's simply stunning. Tons of metal flake, more than a bass fishing boat. You're gonna get signature LED lighting. Now when you go Lariat trim, the LED lighting curves up and then goes all the way across the frunk. That's officially what Ford calls the front mounted trunk on this thing. You got your double stacked LED headlights and LED turn signals. And then as we work our way down, you do have some nice tow hooks to maybe pull that Silverado EV home after the battery dies on it. Now, coming across the front, I do like the way they did this texturized style in the center with the gray finish. Like I said, trying to make it look like a standard F-150. You do have your Ford badge, forward-facing camera, and then you'll notice on the lower end, you got this massive air intake with active shutters that open and close, because we do have that liquid lithium ion cooled battery pack. This is a standard battery pack. You can get an extended range. Just so you know, as soon as you check off the extended range box, it adds an additional $10,000 to the price tag of the vehicle. Just saying. Now, as we rise back up, like I said, that front mounted trunk area, hood looks like it came off at any other Ford F-150 here. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think easing Ford fans into an electrified pickup truck, I think that the style had to be there, and I think they nailed it. Now, when we come around the bend, what are we working with on the Lariat trim when it comes to wheels and tires? You're gonna notice that we have these nice carbonized gray metallic wheels. Love the style of the wheel, 20-inch wheel, 275 on the width, 60 series sidewall, and this, well, I shouldn't say just this, but all of your F-150 Lightnings have dual motors. So we got a motor up front, motor out back, and that's gonna give us our all-wheel drive and that towing capability. Now, coming down the side, like the way they did the F-150 with the carbonized gray Lariat trim name there, you do have your power folding mirrors with the antimatter blue LED turn signals and 360-degree cameras, stationary running boards, and then from the side, similar dimensions, guess what, to a regular F-150. And I think that's a good thing. Now, working our way towards the rear, you got that nice big bed. I love the way that they did the Lightning name, especially the lightning bolt on the T there. Let me know if you feel like they desecrated the name though. In a way, I wish they would have came out with something else, because to me, when I think Lightning, I think of the F-150 supercharged engine, or even the Lightning before that, that had a high output naturally aspirated V8. That was like 5.8 liters in displacement. That's what a Lightning will always mean to me. But this is the new Ford Lightning. Coming around the back, full LED lighting, and just like before, up front, they have the red that lights up all the way across the back. LED reverse lamps, nice and high. Of course, you're gonna have the Ford name stamped in. Working our way down, you do have a spare mounted underneath, and you do have antimatter blue on the rear bumper. We got our full tow hookup. Look at the way that they did the Lightning with the American flag there. That looks pretty cool. I do like that touch. And then nice soft drop release. We have our tonneau cover, full bed liner. You got the measurements to where you can measure things out. And then of course you have all of your powering capability. This could power a house for about 3 days. If you use everything, it'll go a lot longer if you get people to keep the fridge closed. But you got LED bed lighting, the bed liner, and all that plug-in capability. Why don't we go ahead though? Why don't we go and pop that e-trunk and talk about space and horsepower of this Lightning. All right guys, time to get into the frunk. What's nice is you have the button, nice electric assist, opens up right there. Thank you, right on cue. You're gonna be greeted to quite a usable amount of space, more so than the Silverado, more so than the Ram Rev. Now, one of the things I want to show off to you is that you have this compartment here that's going to be totally usable for a cooler because you do have a drain. And I like the way that you can flip this bad boy over. You got your cup holders, you got some measurements, a ruler, and here's the best part. You ready for this one? Look at all the connectivity we have. Absolutely stunning. 4 home power sources, a USB-C and a USB-A. That really shows what Ford was trying to accomplish with this F-150 Lightning. But let's talk about numbers. So as we're looking on that interior, like I said, it's all weatherproof, so it's gonna be able to stay dry. You got your 2 electric motors, 452 horsepower, standard range, 98 kilowatt battery pack, means this thing does 0 to 60 in about 5.3 seconds. Range is 240 miles. That equates to 68 mpges. And then to charge it from 15% to 80% will take 44 minutes. You could tow up to 7,700 pounds and have a payload capacity of 2,000 pounds. So let me know how you feel about that in the comment section. Not just about the frunk, but also about those numbers when it comes to range, charging, and then of course, a lot of magazines have been finding that when you tow, you're only getting about 100 miles worth of range depending on what you're towing. But why don't we go ahead, let's turn this thing on and see it boogie. All right guys, we're inside this 2023 Ford Lightning Lariat trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well Joe, I think I'm ready to insert the plug, not pull the plug, but insert the plug because I want to go get an electrified vehicle. I got to have a truck. I'm not driving anything else. I think I'm liking this F-150 Lightning. How much is it? Very good question. MSRP for this particular one, $74,800. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I like the style that they're bringing. You have this like wetsuit style material, easy to clean, soft, contrast stitching. You got a little bit of this like wood, faux wood trim going on. No gloss black, which is wonderful. You got a place to put 2 of Tampa Bay's finest empanadas in the center there. And if you're going down to Ybor City, you need to treat yourself to some Cubans and easily put at least 4 of them in that door pocket and have a couple bottles of Pepsi to wash it down. Now, when we go from the door panel to the dash, same story. That neoprene style material with the stitching. I like the way they did this aluminum style finish. Very, very nicely done. You are gonna have a 12 volt and a home power source. Down below is where you're gonna need to keep all the napkins so that your hands, after you're eating the Cuban, if you eat a real Cuban, remember you gotta have the mayo on it and you gotta have the pickles, and it's gotta be pressed or it's not a real Cuban. On the Lightning, you're getting that massive 15.5-inch portrait style infotainment system. Not my favorite, but they did integrate it a little bit better than on the Mach-E vehicles. You do have your camera accessibility. Resolution could be a little bit clearer, and I think that's where GM just dominates this segment, is when it comes to their camera quality, but you do have your 360 cam. And then of course, all of your AC controls and everything are in the screen. Now the good news is if you hit fan, you actually adjust it with this rotary knob. So you could do volume for your radio, or you hit fan, and now we're gonna adjust. As you can see, it's a little bit of a pain to do it, but it does adjust it. And then of course we have 3 stages of heated seats and 3 stages of ventilated seats. I'm definitely leaving it on ventilated seats, dual climate, and a heated steering wheel. So they got you covered there. I like that wood finish, open sesame, wireless charging, USB-C, USB-A, and you could put about, I would say, 6 rolls of Mentos in there. Or if you could find them, you could put 6 Rolos, 6 packages of Rolos or rolls of Rolos. And if you never had a Rolo, you haven't lived. 2 cup holders. We got a place, like I said, for our napkins and everything. There's your Ford key fob. Would have been nice if they put a Lightning logo there. Flip it around. You actually have the ability to open up the frunk and the tailgate. This is going to control, of course, your direct drive transmission. I do like the leather and the contrast stitching. It does fold down so that you could have that workstation. Or this is where you could have your picnic. Say it's raining outside like a usual summer day here in Florida. You could have your picnic in Ybor City, weight your Cubans. Eat them all yourself. You might not feel good after that. You might want to have some antacid laying around. But you open this up, this is where you got tons of storage. I mean, you got a USB, 2 USB-Cs in there, and you have enough room to where easily, I would say you could put 2 popples in there. And if you don't know what a popple is, use the Google and find out. If you're from the 1980s, if you were alive in the 1980s, a kid, you would know what I'm talking about. My sister had a ton of them. Seats, I love the two-tone, the gray with the dark stitching, power adjustments for the passenger, power adjustments for the driver. I think the one thing that's killing me that my jaw dropped at $74,000, no sunroof, no panoramic sunroof, no sunroof, not even like a mail slot, nothing, which kind of blows my mind at this price point. But why don't you get over here, the business end, I want to show you behind the wheel of this Lariat Lightning. All right guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 3 memory seat settings for the driver's seat, and you do have the optional B&O sound system in this thing. Now, here are your seat controls. They put a little bit of chrome to kind of spruce things up a little bit. I'm 6 feet tall, and just like any other F-150, you're gonna get tons of room. You actually have more room in this truck than you do have in a standard F-150 because of the flat floor, or the lower floor, I should say, from the battery pack. Because remember, the battery pack is in the belly of this vehicle. Steering wheel, leather's all right. I gotta zonk the horn button. I just wish they would give you a fancy wheel, since this is a fancy truck. That's what confuses me. Manual tilting and telescoping wheel, and then you got your 12-inch digital display, standard display, power, charge, the whole 9 yards. Of course, you have regenerative braking, which is nice. Easy to read. Nothing really to write home about though. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the back seat and see what the Lightning brings for this price point. All right guys, back seat time, and like I said, you're gonna get plenty of room back here for your passengers. They're gonna be spoiled. If any of them complain, tell them to give me a call and I'll tell them why in a few short sentences they need to not complain to you. Backs of the seats have the leather, nice large pockets. So you can put a couple books back there. Tell your kids to read. Do some actual reading, not with a screen in front of them. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Robinson Crusoe family and everything. I mean, these books, these stories that, how about Treasure Freaking Island? That's a classic. They should be reading, not just playing Pokemon and watching Gundam on their phones. But we do have our command center here, 2 cup holders, 2 AC vents, a 12-volt, USB-C, USB-A, and a home power source, so that's good news. There's that nice flat floor. Look at how flat that floor is. Seats are comfy back here, plenty of room, especially headroom for God's sakes. You do have, it's close. If it was just a little smaller, I would zonk the heck out of this, but you have just enough arm for your armrest and 2 cup holders. The great news is that you can lift everything up back here. I mean, check this out. Look at all this space. And you got a little bit of storage space. Maybe you want to have a special gift for your wife or your husband. You could keep it back here and then you surprise them. And do it when you're not in trouble. If you give the gift when you're not in trouble, it actually has more meaning. If you're just giving the gift to get out of the doghouse, don't do that. Find a better way to show that you're sorry than to give a gift. This is relationship advice from me to you. But why don't we go ahead? We're charged up. I'm feeling pretty good. Let's go on throttle in this Lightning. All right, guys, we're inside this 2023 Ford Lightning on throttle. Look at that. It really gets the power down to the ground. It almost felt like I lifted the front of the vehicle off the ground with how hard that torque hits. Obviously, very, very smooth, and they did a great job with canceling out the exterior noise in this Lightning Lariat trim. Now, when you go Lariat, you are going to get a little bit more sound deadening. Obviously, the nicer interior appointments. And it is a good idea to have the different ranges of the battery. It just, for 10,000 more, that's quite an upcharge to get the extended range battery. But the great news is that if you enjoy driving a regular F-150 with an internal combustion engine, you are going to enjoy driving this truck, even though it is very, very unique. That's for sure. You step on the brake pedal, you got that regen braking that's charging the lithium-ion battery pack. I like how clear the gauges are. And of course, everything is going to be situated in the truck just like you remember in any other F-150. Getting to the infotainment system is well within reach. My big zonk is just being able to identify quickly with your eyes and your finger to what you're trying to adjust. I think that's when things get a little cumbersome, which if you don't know what cumbersome means, it means hard to maneuver. And this definitely can be a little cumbersome while you're driving and trying to focus on where the heck you're going. But obviously, all the safety equipment, you got that great storage space underneath the frunk, and these seats are absolutely superb, absolutely superb. I love the way they're ventilated, they're heated. I got the ventilation kicking because it's like 100 degrees right now, and it's pretty miserable outside from a heat standpoint. I think one of the biggest surprises you're gonna find is that with it being an electric vehicle, because you have a lithium-ion battery pack, it handles really well. Look at that. Getting a little chirp from the tires when you go on throttle. But because the center of gravity is lower, it actually will out-handle your regular Ford F-150. But we gotta go on throttle again. Nobody's behind us, are you ready? On throttle, look at that. Nice. Getting up to speed, plenty of power. You're gonna like the instant torque. I think what you're not gonna like is, depending on what you tow and how much it weighs, your range is gonna go right down the old toilet. So, something to think about. But the fact that you can power your house for 3 days with a fully charged Lightning, or you could go longer depending on what you use, that really says something about this truck, and I do like that feature. But when you compare it to a Silverado EV, Chevrolet took a different route. They went more futuristic, much more different than a standard Silverado. If you do Ram Rev 1500, they kind of went in between the Ford and the Chevy. So something interesting to think about for sure, but definitely a very smooth riding, smooth driving truck. And the fact that you got all your storage spaces that you're familiar with, your connectivity, your workspace, it really shows just what the capability of a truck is today in the modern era. But hopefully this has been a good overall review for you. We're gonna get back to Walker Ford and wrap this thing up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another fun-filled, charging up, electrifying kind of day here at Walker Ford. Definitely want to thank Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Mark, getting us the access to this antimatter blue Ford Lightning Lariat trim. Let me know what you think. Are you going Lightning? Are you going Silverado EV? Or are you gonna go Ram Rev 1500? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rise family. I don't know if you hear those sirens, but that is actually a special police escort that Steven is getting to the airport, because guess what? He's flying to Japan to do some filming at the Nissan headquarters. So let's wish him congratulations and luck making it to Tokyo. Thank you, Stephen, for all your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.